Welcome to 5 Minutes with Gray Hair Dave. He has gray hair, he has a gray beard, he wears glasses like the guy in the artwork. Oh, and the guy in the artwork is better looking. Now, here is Gray Hair Dave.
Well, folks, what did you think of her as the intro? I have to find a way to speed her up. She's a little slow, if you know what I mean. But anyways, I thought that one was pretty cool. Well, welcome back. This is episode 125 of the inevitable 5 Minutes with Gray Hair Dave. So how are you? Hope you're doing great. Really do, because I'm doing really good. So, what's happening in your world? I know this is supposed to have come out a couple of days ago, and I apologize for that. But here I am. I wanted to end up last week's conversation with AI by not talking about AI today. I wanted to talk about the end of 1985 for me. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't mean it in a bad way, the end of 1985, because we talked a little bit about it, but we didn't talk a lot about it. 1985, again, my wife, number one, and I, we were living in Port Huron, and I was still working at the paper mill. Had great friends in our neighborhood. We used to spend a lot of time with, plus the friends that I had from work and that she knew. And life was going along well, I thought. My parents were a little sick at the time. Both had cancer, and they were doing okay at the time. So, especially towards the end, it was a good year for them. Could have been better, of course, always could have been better. But, that's the way life was. I finally got my, and I don't know if it was in 84 or 85, it doesn't matter. Friends and I would stop at this bar on the way home from work on our day shift, and we were all on a day shift together, and there'd be 5 or 6 or 7 of us sometimes. Stop in, have a few beers, have a few laughs. Now you got to remember, we got out of work at 2:30. By the time we got to our cars, it's a 5 or 6, maybe 7-minute walk to our cars. And we all met up at this bar. Well, it was probably closer to 3:30. Well, my wife got off of work at 4:30. And she would drive by this bar and see my van sitting there, or my truck sitting there, whichever it was at the time. In 85, I think it was my truck. And I'd get home and she'd be mad at me. And I'd say to her over and over, well, why don't you stop? You know everybody. Do you need an invitation? She goes, well, that invitation would be nice. And I said, well, you're absolutely right. Anytime that I am there, you are more than welcome. You are. You're my wife. I love you. I want you to be around. I want you to enjoy time with myself and my friends. And I want to enjoy my time with you and my friends. So stop by. So every once in a while she would. And she became a hit. Here comes this pretty woman, and she's coming into the bar, and she's sitting with us, and she's chatting. And don't get me wrong, number one, she was very, very pretty. Very, very pretty. Had long hair. Depended on the month what color it was, but it was more blonde and it was like a darkish blonde. I don't know what you call that stuff, but she's a pretty woman. She really is. And she still is today, I'm sure. But she was a hit. And she liked that. And she liked being the only girl. And every once in a while, one of the other guys would have their girlfriend or their wife stop by too. It made it a social event instead of a let's go get hammered at the bar event, Something about bringing your spouse to an event or to an outing that you're going to tends to bring it more social than just a drunk. Just go get hammered. Because Thursdays was the day we went, because Thursdays was payday. We'd all stop at the bank on our way, go get our cash, and go. Now, granted, you got to remember, back in 1985, beer was nowhere near as expensive as it is now at a bar. All right, here I am again. I'm sorry. Now, I want you to think about this. Back in 1985, you could buy an average a six pack of beer for $4.30. What is it now? It's probably closer to $7, $8, or depending on what you drink, So that meant to me that it was like $1.75 on average for for a beer at the bar. Well, for $20, you were out and you could get hammered for $20 and leave a tip, a nice tip for either the waitress or the bartender. Now, I frequented this bar more than once a week, just because I would go on Thursdays with the guys. It was on my way home, or for some of these guys, it was not on their way home. So if I knew my wife was working till 4:30, I might stop, have a couple of beers, and then meet her at home when we got there. We both get there around the same time that way. Because you get home and you're a guy, and if you don't have to mow the lawn, you don't have things to do around the house, what are you going to do? You're going to turn on music, and you may have a beer. Well, I can do that at a bar and have somebody to talk to until my wife comes in. Or until I go home and I can chat with my wife, or maybe she'd stop in and we'd have a bite to eat. Those are the fun times. I really think they were. I missed that part of being married. The socialization and a lot of those types of things. Don't get me wrong, folks. I'm not over here crying in my beer. I am not doing that at all. That's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about here was I missed that portion of it, where number one and I, would come home from work and have a drink and talk and chat and listen to music and go out and talk with friends in the neighborhood if it wasn't the winter. It was fun time. And I hope that you had a fun time back then doing those types of things too. Or if you weren't around yet, that's absolutely fine. Don't worry about not being around in 1985. But I was, and I enjoyed myself. So, that was the way life was back then. And back in 85, you're saying to yourself, well, Dave, what kind of music did you listen to? Well, let me tell you. Here's the top number one songs for the year, right? Number one was What Are Friends For? Look at that. It's kind of goes right into the general feeling and mode of today's podcast. Well, that was by Dionne Warwick, Gladys Knight, Elton John, and Stevie Wonder. Say You, Say Me by Lionel Richie. There's another love song. I Miss You by Climax. On My Own, Patti LaBelle and Michael McDonald. Michael McDonald, he was from originally the Doobie Brothers. Broken Wings by Mr. Mister. How Will I Know by Whitney Houston. Party All the Time by Eddie Murphy. Do you believe that? Eddie Murphy came out with a song, and it was popular. It was number 7 for the year. Burning Heart by Survivor was there at number 8. Carrie by Mr. Mister. Addicted to Love by Robert Palmer. Hope I said that right. Robert Palmer. The Greatest Love of All by Whitney Houston. Secret Lovers by Atlantic Starr. Ooh, Secret Lovers. Yes, indeed. Anyway, Glory of Love by Peter Cetera. Friends and Lovers by Gloria Loring and Carl Anderson. West End Girls by the Pet Shop Boys. Excuse the P's for popping, but they were the Pet Shop Boys. There'll Be a Sad Song by Billy Ocean. Alive and Kickin' by Simple Minds. Never by Heart, and Kiss by Prince and the Revolution. Stuck With You. My gosh, Dave, can't read today. Stuck With You by Huey Lewis and the News. What other popular one? Here's one that I really love, and I love it to this day. It's called Rock Me Amadeus by Falco. If you haven't heard that song ever, just type in Falco into YouTube. In fact, I'll put a link to that in the show notes. I think you're going to love that. Rock Me Amadeus. Wow, that was just too cool. But that was the music we listened to. What music did you listen to? Does this bring back any memories of what you were doing back then? I hope it does. It's part of the reason I talk about the music. It's not just because I love music. It's because I think you love music too. And this reminds you of the songs you may not always hear or think to go back and listen to again. It's not hard. But anyways, folks, don't forget the website, 5minuteswithgrayhairdave.com. That's the number 5, minuteswithgrayhairdave.com. Leave me a message in the contact me page or with a little red microphone. Excuse me. It's on every page. Also, if you know somebody who doesn't know what a podcast is, doesn't know how to find one, what they are, what kind of genre they might like, do me a favor and show them for me. I would appreciate that greatly. Also, don't forget, smile at somebody today, folks. It will make their day. You all make my day. Yes, you, the one listening to me right now, you make my day by showing up and listening. I appreciate you. I hope you know that. I really do. So, on behalf of all the wackadoodles that are up in my head, and they're there today, trust me, you all go out and have a great day, and I will talk to you again soon.